to another episode of Post Shave in what has proven to be a very, very busy week. We've had the release of the Shave the Man brush. Congratulations to all of those who managed to secure one of those. Articles in Forbes magazine, a big cheerio and shout out to all those artisans and people that have contributed to the wet shaving world. I think wet shaving is a winner this week. And of course, a new podcast, Cutting Edge, which you can find on iTunes. Well, enough of that. Let's get on with the questions. Can you bowl lather with a plisson or any synthetic brush? You most certainly can. In fact, the plisson is a wonderful bowl lathering brush. In fact, at times it's a little too wonderful. I've ended up with lather all over my eyebrows just by lathering. The lather goes everywhere. It's a very, very good brush for bowl lathering and, of course, face lathering. Now, it's not only the plisson. There are other synthetic brushes which perform equally as well. There's absolutely no reason why you wouldn't use a plisson to bowl lather. What is the difference between an open comb to a slant DE razor shaving wise? And why do you think one is better than the other? Well, before we even talk about the slant and the open comb razor, I think it would be remiss of me not to mention the birthday. Yes, the birthday of the slant razor, or at least the filing of the patent for the slant razor by a Thomas Wilde way back in February of 1915, nearly 100 years ago. So let's talk about these two razors. Open comb versus a slant. Is it fair to make that comparison? I think in terms of shaving, they both offer very, very different characteristics, and neither one nor the other is better. Let's look at the open comb firstly. Now, this is a very efficient razor, efficient and also quite effective in removing reasonably heavy growth. It, because of its design, leaves trails of lather on your face, therefore allowing you to go over the same spot 2 or 3 times. In fact, it's a very, very good razor for buffering. One of the things that people have said of open comb razors is that they are aggressive. That is not necessarily the case. Aggression is, for want of a better word, has more to do with the blade gap and blade exposure. The more blade that is exposed, the more aggressive or efficacious the razor. So it's got nothing to do with these teeth, it's got nothing to do with the comb, it has to do with blade exposure. The other very good characteristic, of course, is that the open comb razor prevents a lot of the whiskers and the lather accumulating behind the bar as it passes over your face. In other words, you're not going to get any accumulation of gunk. Very effective. The slant, on the other hand, works in a very, very similar way to the guillotine. Now, during the French Revolution, many lost their heads over the guillotine, and the design of having to come down and slice a person's head, kind of gruesome, I know, was found to be the most effective way of removing the head from the body cleanly. What does this have to do with shaving? Well, if you can imagine that a slant places the slant razor places the blade at an angle and passes quite easy and effortlessly over the whiskers, resulting in a what I find to be very, very comfortable shave. Should the two be pitted against each other? Absolutely not. They both perform equally well. It's a personal preference. Wet shaving or wet shaving? The simple answer is it really depends. Now, wet on its own is an adjective. Wet-shaving is a compound adjective. In other words, the wet shaving community, or the wet shaving supply store, or the wet shaving website.
Wet shaving is not hyphenated the rest of the time, so when it's a noun, as in the product category wet shaving, and when it's the activity wet shaving, it is 2 words.
When you're hashtagging it though, it's got to be wet shaving 1 word. Don't use a hyphen in a hashtag because it gets lost. It's just look kind of weird. It'll look like wet with a little hyphen on it, and you don't want that. Pinod's Eau de Portugal. This is hygiene de tête or the compound for a hair tonic. Now you might be thinking, what the hell is this guy talking about hair tonics for? He's follically challenged. I am. But the one thing that maybe a lot of you aren't aware of is that you can use this as an aftershave, and I do, and I love it. I have to say the post-shave feel on this is magnificent. The substances that exist in this are good for your scalp, and your scalp is made of skin, and your face is skin, therefore it works. It really does work. The scent profile on this is quite boozy. It's very reminiscent of a gin and tonic. If you like boozy things, you would really, really like this. It's not going to last ages. It's probably, I don't know, maybe an hour tops, but it really is very, very good stuff and worth checking out. Right, this episode's shave of the day goes to Steve Arnold. I really, really love this picture because it is a nod to yesteryear. All of Steve's shaves of the day are a particular style. They all look like they're of a particular period. The compositions are wonderful. The colours he uses, like these washed out sepia tones, and yet we're fully engrossed by the colours that he uses. Very, very nice. Really inspiring, make you want to get out there and shave and put your own picture together. This was taken from the G+ community. It's a winner as far as I'm concerned. Okay, that's it for another episode of Post Shave. Follow us on all of these social mediums and remember to contribute. Use the hashtag SOTD and hashtag PostShave. We will see you in the next episode.